Welcome back to Making It. In the United States, the construction industry ranks third in the number of privately held firms, but only 1 out of 12 is owned by a woman.
On today's show, we're talking to a couple of entrepreneurs who've achieved success as part of that 8% minority.
Rebecca Barrantes began her career helping women and minorities become business owners, and later, when she lost her job with the city transportation department, she used that business knowledge to strike out on her own.
In 1994, the Northridge earthquake shook Southern California, leveling several freeway bridges. Rebecca was awarded a contract to oversee the reconstruction public relations.
Since then, she's carved out quite a niche for herself. She's known for helping ensure that construction projects are completed on time, on budget. Errol Smith reports.
I had a long government career working in external affairs, basically working with the public, all parts of that public, the community, politicians, the media. And I saw an opportunity to bridge a gap in people's understanding of what their world is about, what's going on in the world, how it affects them in their community. And it wasn't being done, more importantly, in their own language.
Rebecca, the Sierra Group is a consulting firm. Tell us exactly what you do.
We provide public affairs services, public outreach, public information, public education services that are about projects of benefit to the community, projects or programs, services. Our clients are both public sector as well as private sector.
Tell us about your first client.
Our first client was the state of California, actually, Caltrans. And this was right after the Northridge earthquake, when several structures, as well as our infrastructure, fell down. Many freeway bridges fell down. In one case, in the San Fernando Valley in Granada Hills, on the I-118, 2 bridges failed, and they fell down in the middle of a neighborhood. The concrete spans of bridge fell probably within 1 to 2 feet of people's kitchens and their backyards. So my first contract, $243,000, came over my thermal fax machine in my humble little home office, which was only 3 months old. The business was only 3 months old at the time. I didn't even know what I was getting over my fax machine. I had to send it to a friend of mine in business to figure out that I had just landed a major contract.
What was it like starting a company from scratch and having to get it up to speed in just a few weeks?
Well, I did have to run. Had to run real fast. I had to get an office. I had to hire staff. I had to put in place business structures and systems, basically to put in place all of the things that you would need to support almost $250,000 worth of work overnight.
How do you go about placing a price on what you do? And then more importantly, how do you convey that value to your clients?
Well, after 10 years of being in business, and I did this collectively with my staff, we sat down and we went through activities it takes to put together a brochure, from concept to finished product. How do I make that clear to my clients? My clients want to do 2 things: do their projects such that it comes in on time and on budget. What we show them is the value that we can create with our services to allow that to happen. That for our fee, which is minuscule in comparison to their multi-million-dollar budget, they can bring that budget in on time by spending a very small amount in investing in our services. It's well worth it to them.
I'm told that 85% of your time is now spent looking for new opportunities. How do you search for them? How do you find them? And how do you pursue them?
I go to bid conferences where many of the companies that are going after projects would go to hear about a contract opportunity. I team with other companies, which is a real strategic move.
Consulting always sounds like really easy work. You get to give advice and have people send you money. But I know it's got to be tougher than that. Tell me about some of the challenges.
It isn't always easy because, again, your clients are there to get advice from you, and they want to know and they want to have the confidence in your ability to guide them in the right direction. And you're that objective third eye for them. And that's why they hire you, because they really feel that you need somebody to come in that doesn't have an axe to grind, that doesn't have any bias whatsoever, who can look at their situation and actually say, okay, here's a strategic way of handling this situation.
Now, you've made one of the most difficult challenges for almost any entrepreneur, and that's transitioning from managing your business hands-on to delegating it and putting your attention on growth. What was that transition like?
5 years ago, I hired a business coach to help me define really what is my business. And your business is you. I learned that what my life was about, and who I'm being in the world, is really what my business is. But it was through the coaching that I began to identify the strategic objective for my company for the next 5 years. One of the key strategies for building this business has been, and getting myself out of the daily to-do, was for me to go out and get multi-year contracts. That was my first strategy. It allowed me to bring in other people to come in and do the work. I could get to step out and begin to do the management and the visioning for the growth of my company.
Very focused lady there.
Yeah.
Rebecca advises business owners to stick to a 5-year plan. She says if you don't, you're moving sideways rather than forward. She also says that if entrepreneurs aren't making money, then they should apply for nonprofit status because there's no point in working for free.
That's true. Coming up next, our studio guest is an international speaker, corporate advisor, author, and business owner. Deborah Rosado Shaw has tips on overcoming fear, taking risks, and obtaining million-dollar accounts. Learn to dream big right after this break. And here's how you can get in touch with the entrepreneurs you've met on today's show. You can reach Sharon Coleman of Coleman Construction at 323-295-5484. And you can contact Rebecca Barantes of the Sierra Group at 562-463-0042.